Welcome back,
Hi
everybody.
guys.
We're back again
I know.
for part
I'm so
2.
sorry.
You're sorry. Hey, frosty friends.
Oh my god, fuck off. I can't. This is cool cats. Nah.
That's better than what I said.
No, that is what you said.
No, I said, stay
You,
cool, you cats.
right, exactly. And I
Cool
said
cats
stay
is better than
frosty.
that. Yeah.
Why are we bringing this up again? Why are we drawing attention to the fact that we said those things?
Because if we embarrass ourselves and laugh about it, then other people can embarrass us and laugh about it.
You mean
Because
other
we
people
already
can
did it.
embarrass themselves and laugh about it, not embarrass us and laugh about it?
Yeah.
Why do we want other people to? Please don't embarrass us. We do enough of that ourselves.
No, that's what I mean.
But that's
Like,
not what you said.
No, like if we talk about it, then other people won't because we already talked about it. You know?
Sure.
You can say no.
No, it's fine. Oh my gosh. Anyways, um, we are back with part 2 of our less hilarious episodes about mental health stuff.
I mean, it's still pretty funny. We're still laughing
Right.
because we're just jovial
Self-deprecating humor,
individuals.
of course.
Exactly.
It's
And then
the
me laughing at my
funniest
own
stuff ever.
jokes because
Right.
Link
Exactly.
doesn't think I'm funny.
I never said that. When did I say that? Someone
You
go
laughed
back
at
and
my
read the
joke.
receipts. Did I ever say those words? I don't think so. We got the proof.
I mean, but I laugh at everything, so
Right.
even unfunny things I laugh at usually.
Same.
Yeah. But I guess let's just jump right back in.
Yeah. So if you missed the last episode, we were talking about some therapy stuff and some more therapy stuff. We talked about that for quite a while.
We did.
And we talked about some burnout stuff, which we all get. It happens to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So go back and listen to that stuff if you would like to. I'm going to preface this episode with the same content warning as the other one. We may touch on some uncomfortable subjects for some people. So just be forewarned, and there will be a full content warning in the description of the episode as well, just so that you guys are aware before you start listening.
Yep.
Thank you for your contribution to that sentence.
You're welcome.
Oh my God.
I do what I can, okay? I'll be here all night.
All right. We're going to be going into some talk about setting and keeping boundaries in your life, which is one of the most important things that you can do ever.
Mm-hmm.
They're super important because if you don't have boundaries, then you leave yourself open to being judged and taken advantage of, and amongst other things, and it's just not a good time. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Heavily agree on that. Like, one thing that, I have learned in therapy is how to kind of like listen to yourself and listen to your gut. And as my therapist says it, like almost verbatim, listen to your knowing of like your body knows when you are uncomfortable, when you don't feel right about something. Like even sometimes if you have like butterflies in your stomach about something and people are like, "Oh, I felt butterflies for him." And then they look back later and they're like, "But he was horrible to me." And like I think sometimes like that's just your body telling you like, maybe we want to watch out. Maybe we listen to ourselves a little bit more, and vocalize to other people what it is that you a need from them, and b like what they do or say. This is mostly catered towards people who are a little bit more toxic, or less understanding, people who bulldoze you, people who don't appreciate your presence in their lives. Kind of cater to that for the most part. You're gonna you know how you feel when you're around them, and it's usually like, if you sit there and you're like, oh, they want to hang out. Oh, do I have the mental like capacity to do that right now? Am I up for that? And it's hard because sometimes those people are your lifelong friends.
Well, and it's also
Or
hard because situations like that can be indicators of other things rather than necessarily, like that. It could just be at the same time a sign that you are, going through a burnout period,
yeah.
or you're having like a bad day for your social anxiety, if that's something
Hmm.
that you struggle with. So you also kind of have to know, like, you have to be a little bit more in tune with yourself to kind
Yeah.
of be able to differentiate between, is this my mind and my body telling me that this is not a situation that I want to be in, or is this this other
Me
thing that's
just
happening that um, requires another solution? Like, do I need
right.
to, like, it's you're kind of constantly juggling when you suffer from mental health issues
Yes.
like that, and you just kind of gotta, you have to really get in tune with yourself to kind of know the difference between these things.
Definitely. Because like with what you said, like it literally could be so many different things, and you have to kind of figure out which one it is. And something that I realized after a while was, the more I put boundaries up with other people, and even for myself, of like, this is where my line is. Even for myself, like, I'm not going to be doing this
Right.
anymore. um Even if I feel like it's, if it's something that's super beneficial for someone else but detrimental to my own self, I'm starting to draw a line at that.
Right.
And it
And
helps you. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna, there's some information that I had read. When you're talking about boundaries, there's 5 general types of boundaries to establish that
Hmm.
you can establish, and they're physical, intellectual, emotional, sexual, and financial. Those are like the 5 categories of boundaries.
Hmm.
Um, like physical, obvious, they're, you know, your personal space, privacy, your physical body kind of boundaries, stuff that fits into, like, even if it's just with your friends, like some people are huggers, some people are not huggers,
I'm
like
not.
PDA kind of stuff. You have, like, all of those kind of things fit into physical boundaries.
Hmm.
And then, like, what you're talking about, like, um with that, if somebody asks you to, like, go do something and you're just like, oh, I don't really want to do that, like, that kind of can lead into having to have proper um emotional boundaries,
Yeah.
which are about, like, your feelings and your comfort, stuff like that. um because the wrong kind of person, and this is going to help with how having these boundaries is going to help you differentiate between, is this a toxic, like a toxic person kind of situation that I don't want to be in, or is this, a social anxiety burnout kind of other other issue, where if
Hmm.
you have proper healthy emotional boundaries set up, the right kind of person that is respectful of those boundaries if you tell them, oh, I don't want to like go out tonight, or I don't want to like do that thing or whatever. The right kind of person will respect that boundary that you have
Yeah.
already established and be like, that is totally okay.
Yeah.
You like, is it this specific thing? Do you want to do something else? Do you want to, you know, stay home, have a hermit night by yourself? Do
Mm-hmm.
you want to be around people? What, like, all of these options are okay because you
Right.
already established the boundary with that person. And the wrong kind of person is the people that are be like, oh, come on, it'll be fun, or oh, like, don't stay home like by yourself, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Those are
Or
not the like the right kind of people to respect your boundaries.
right. Or if even this simple task of establishing a boundary with someone is going to be very telling of if they actually value you or
Right.
not. Because you can go to somebody and say, hey, I really don't like um, this particular topic, or I don't like the way that you said this to me, and I would really rather we, like, kind of change how that's addressed, or like, specifically, like, my best examples are my ex. I asked him to just talk to me nicer and like not be so mean when he spoke to me, and he literally got so mad and was like, why are you trying to change who I am? And I'm like,
Right.
I'm
Which
literally
that is a very
asking you.
toxic response to that
Yes,
statement. Like,
it is. And I was like, I'm actually just your girlfriend trying to ask you to be nice to me.
right. And
That's
like,
all.
for a relevant example of actual respecting, like, respectful boundary set, just today, before we started recording these episodes, we were like, okay, what topics of conversation do you not want to talk about? Do you not want me to talk about? Like, we had that conversation, we established those boundaries, and we went from there.
Hmm. Exactly. And setting up your own boundaries. Um, once you, it's almost like once you start, it's so much easier to continue once you're in that kind of
Right.
mindset of what do I need to be asking from people? What do I need them to ask from me at the same time so that I can show up as a valuable, great, like grateful and respectful friend to really show that this person is important to me. And that's how I see boundaries is like setting up what is going to be healthiest for yourself, and then also being able to respect others so that you can show up and be like, and really demonstrate like you are important to me and I want you to know that. And
Yeah.
this is like my actions are speaking in this moment of like, I'm going to ask you what it is you need from me. I want you to ask me what I need from you. And like, it's just, it screams healthy. Like,
Right.
and, being able to communicate that to somebody, it's just the healthiest way to have just solid foundation, one for yourself, two for the people that you have in your life, and three to be able to like kind of start weeding out and figuring out, are these the people that I want to have in my life, like long term, and um is this a relationship that I want to cater and that I want to nurture and everything like that.
Right. Exactly.
And also to be able to be the most respectful to yourself. I feel like I'm talking in circles,
That's
but
okay. I kind of have like segue into like the next thing that I kind of wanted to talk about with boundaries. And like I've got, um, like we can post our like whatever research references or whatever we're using.
yeah.
If you guys would like us to, we can totally do that. Um, but this site that I'm kind of looking at right now, just kind of um poking through while we're talking here,
Mm-hmm.
it's got kind of like 10 general steps on how to set and maintain good boundaries. Um, which these are not like by any means an end all be all instruction, like follow
Right.
these to a T kind of thing.
Because Everybody's
it's going
different.
to be a little bit different. Exactly.
Yeah,
And
every
you're going to
situation is
have different
different.
boundaries that you need to set. You're going to have different situations of like people in your life that you can set certain boundaries with, or like that you want to set certain boundaries with.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to just kind of go through these,
Yeah, totally. Because sometimes it
just
just
because it
helps
can be
to
helpful to
have an
start
idea.
somewhere. Right.
Exactly. Having
So number
even
one,
general.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say having even like a general idea of what it looks like
Right.
to start
Exactly.
is a huge step.
Um, so number one is reflect on the reasons for your boundaries. So if you're like, if you have a like a boundary that you need to set with somebody, kind of like if you're unsure about it, kind of look inwards at it for yourself and be like, okay, this is the reason why I need this boundary in place, either for me, for this specific person, just in general for everybody. Like you kind of go through it and make sure that you fully understand the boundary yourself. Because if you can't understand why you need this boundary in place, you can't really expect other people to do the same.
Right, because you're not going to be able to articulate what it is that you're asking for.
Exactly. Right. Um, Number two is start with a few boundaries. This one I'm a little bit kind of iffy on because like you have the boundaries that you need to have. Like that's just it, regardless of how many there are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like the point it's trying to make is that don't overwhelm yourself with trying to set a ton of boundaries with people all at the same time if you
Yeah.
don't already have any established boundaries. Um, Especially like for one, it will not overwhelm yourself. It will not overwhelm the people in your life if you haven't already set those boundaries. And there's like, it could be like some people might feel a little overwhelmed or like you're trying to push them away if you try and like really hard set a bunch of strict boundaries all at once kind of thing. I can
Right.
understand where people might feel a little bit like pushed back,
Yeah, like
taken aback at
especially
that kind of thing.
yeah, like if you have like a list of like, hey, all of a
Right.
sudden I have all these boundaries.
And then you also don't know, like, as some like other people, obviously you have to take into account that um other people have like boundaries or like anxieties of their own. And like if you're close with somebody and you want to stay close with them, but you also would like to start setting boundaries with them because you need that for yourself, or you need that to better your relationship, um just be a little bit sensitive to your own and their like mental health issues and all that kind of stuff. Some people may uh take a huge list of boundaries as, oh, I'm doing all of these things wrong. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
terrible person. I need to not, I like, I'll just leave kind
Yeah.
of thing. I definitely feel that sometimes, not necessarily just with boundaries, but just in general. Um, so it like just kind of keeping a comfortable pace to not overwhelm yourself and those that are close to you. That I can understand where that point's going to, just to kind of keep things comfortable for everybody.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, Number three is consider setting boundaries early on.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to, if you're like if you're already in an established like relationship or friendship or whatever with somebody, um, before you're realizing certain boundaries that need to be in place, you can't really go back and set them early on in your relationship. But if you can, like, absolutely set your boundaries from the beginning, because if you're accepting of um like toxic behaviors or other things that make you uncomfortable in a relationship, and then you kind of flip a switch, it's going to be more stressful for yourself if the other person can't quickly adapt to your boundaries
Mm-hmm.
that you're setting now.
Or it's like stressful to even just bring it up because you're like,
Right,
I should have said
exactly.
something earlier.
Right.
And I think with that part too, like um addressing it as it happens as well. If you do have an established
Yep, which is
um
the next point is
oh
being
I'm so
consistent with your
smart.
boundaries. Yeah.
Because, like, you could literally be out and about and say you're out with a friend and they say like a just a remark and it just really sets you off the wrong way right then and there. You know, if
Exactly.
you're wanting to reinforce having boundaries and, you know, cultivating where you draw the line, right then and there be like, hey, and try and come at it with an air of compassion and kindness. It can be hard when you're like upset, but even just being like, hey, I really don't want this to come across the wrong way, but I really don't appreciate the way you
Right.
said that, the fact that
Should
you
be
did
open
say
and
that.
honest about it. Otherwise, you can't respect your own boundaries and you can't expect other people to respect them either.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, the next one is carve out time for yourself.
That's a big one.
Right. Right. You have to have the boundary of having your own personal time. That is like required. Like everybody need your own time to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just like for self-care, if nothing else, which we're gonna get into in a little bit. Um, but yeah, it's just you need the time for yourself. That's just the end of that point.
Right. You mean you have to sit with yourself and listen to what you're feeling and kind of reevaluate, go through things, you know, not in an overthinking sense, but like a um, you know, just understanding what makes you feel better in
Right.
situations when, you know, say you do set a boundary and you feel absolutely amazing. Like lean into that, you know? Realize that you're taking care of yourself by doing that and nurturing better relationships for yourself, your friends, everything like that. Um, yeah, you can't really do that if you're not, you know,
Right.
listening to
Exactly.
yourself and taking the time apart from everything else and the busyness of life and work and relationships and so being social and maintaining everything all at once, taking a step back to just be like, this is me, this is my time,
Right.
this is what I need, period.
Exactly.
That's it. That's all it needs to be.
Yeah. Next point is don't be afraid to include extra boundaries. So everybody, you're gonna have either like places or like relationships or something like other places that already have boundaries in place. Like we'll use work as an example. You have a job, you go to work. There's obvious boundaries that are already in place in your
Right.
workplace, whether that's physical boundaries between you and your coworkers or you and your customers or whatever you have, like all those kind of things. They're already there.
Right.
If you consider those the minimum boundaries that are there, your coworkers or your clients or whoever, they're all going to have some of their own boundaries in place in your workplace themselves already. You can absolutely have your own too,
Mm-hmm.
that are like either the same as your minimum workplace boundaries, but stepped further, further, um take it to the next level. If that's what makes you comfortable, it's absolutely fine for you to have your own boundaries on top of what's already established.
Yeah.
um the next is healthy boundaries on social media,
Oh,
because
this
we
is a big
live
one.
in the age of technology and social media. um and the majority of people are on at least one social media platform, um whether it's Facebook or Instagram or even just Snapchat or whatever. Um, yeah, they are great for like communicating with people, expressing yourself through pictures or videos or whatever you are like doing with your social media. It's totally fine. But you have to keep your same, you have to keep your boundaries that you have in your non-digital life to your social media as well. Super
Mm-hmm.
important, because if you're not keeping those boundaries to social media and that kind of stuff, then you're kind of uh, I don't know, you're leaving it open to potentially allow your other boundaries that are outside of social media to be disrespected at the same time. And it goes back to the whole being consistent with your boundaries kind of thing.
Yeah.
And social media is just even more dangerous because the amount of personal information that you have on social medias, whether it's photos or like actual information, is even more. Like it's a lot.
Well, and, like, even the sheer amount of content out there, um, I think we sometimes forget too that a lot of people are going to be posting the highlights. But
Yeah,
because there's so much of it, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm literally living this person's life with them.
right.
No,
You're not.
no, you're not seeing the struggles. You're not seeing the
Right.
difficult. Some people show that, a lot of people don't. And watching some of this content and comparing yourself, like, why am I not there? Is I know that I've spiraled doing that before, of
Yep.
comparing myself. Excuse me.
We do it all the time.
Exactly. And they say comparison is the thief of happiness. If you're sitting there worried about how someone else got to where they are, you know, and I am literally, um shoot, what is the word? I've done it. There's
Huh?
a specific word. I'm so sorry. I'm literally, oh, I'm guilty of it.
Right.
Um I'm literally guilty of doing it myself, where I'm like, wow, this person like has such, they have, oh, such a well trained dog. They have such a nice looking home. They have all this stuff. They have a great job. I'm like, but I don't know anything about how they got there. And, even with like a lot of other content, oops, where I don't know, it's a lot to consume all at once, especially
Yeah.
when they call it doom scrolling for a reason. Um, so stepping back and be like, you know what, I'm gonna give myself like 15 minutes on social media. I'm gonna unfollow some pages that their content just, it doesn't make me feel good afterwards, or I am so enveloped in it that I get sucked in for an hour and a half and then I don't realize what happened. Setting a timer, um, allowing yourself to only really use, like, go to one social media platform for like like a day. I don't, that's not totally realistic.
Right.
Um, but like, kind of figuring out a way so that it's a healthier experience for you, so that you can enjoy it without having like kind of almost detrimental effects from just constantly just consuming and consuming and consuming more social media content
Yeah.
and then feeling bad about it later or anything like that.
Well, and it's also not even just about consuming. You also need to remember that it's you should have boundaries with other people that you know, like your friends and family, that have access to post photos or personal information or anything about you that you don't want shared publicly on social media. Establish that boundary with them. If like
Yeah.
they're like, oh, like I don't want, um like I'll use me for an example. For like streaming stuff and even on here and everything, I obviously don't go by um my real name or anything like that. Um and I have people on my streams and everything that I know in person in real life. They knew me before I started doing any kind of stream or anything like that. And before the very first time that I have them on stream with me to play games or whatever, I established with them like, hey, I know that you usually call me my regular name, but
Legal given
nobody
name.
on my in my stream community knows that. As a protection of my own personal information, I need you to use the name Link. That's hard and fast rule. That is a strict boundary that I have set. Um, and I need you to respect that.
Yeah. You're so smart. You think of everything. I I don't post anything on social media, so I don't even think about it. and nobody posts anything with me in it, so I don't even think about it.
Well, it's even like with like
And
your dad
yeah,
plays
oh,
Fortnite with
well,
you on
he's
stream.
doxed
And
me
like
so many
I know.
times.
And I have been doxxed once or twice by friends on stream accidentally.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it happens, I tell them like, "Hey, I'm streaming. Remember what I told you. Please don't use that name."
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time it's fine, but it goes back to you have to communicate when your boundaries are crossed and
Right.
stop it from happening right when it happens. Which is why
Exactly.
even now, because you've corrected him, every time we go to play Fortnite, your dad asks if we're streaming.
Yep.
Because you've
Exactly.
corrected him on the boundary. He
Mm-hmm.
knows that that boundary exists, and he knows that he cannot cross it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And like that was something that was hard for him to like get
Right.
accustomed
I
to
imagine,
because
especially with you and your sister
oh,
both doing it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I'll even be talking to him and I'll call Akuma just Akuma.
Right.
And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, blank."
Yeah.
Insert sister's name here. Um and like that's hard for him as a parent to
Right.
go from years and years and years of just,
Exactly.
calling me by my given name and then, "Oh, hey, by the way, both of us stream now. Can you call us by these names?" It's
Right.
hard to like make that flip, but like he's putting in the effort and I can see that he's putting in the effort.
Exactly.
And I genuinely respect and appreciate the effort that he puts in with that.
Right. That's even just about names. Like you don't use like a webcam for streaming at all.
Right.
And that is a boundary that you have put in place for your
Anonymity.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's totally fine.
Yeah, and like some people I'm friends with on social media with, and it is my choice and my decision on who I allow to have that information.
Right, exactly. That's why like my personal Instagram account is private
Mm-hmm.
and I don't give it out to like you have my personal like Instagram account. Um but that's different because you're you.
Yeah.
But the
And what a
general
choice that was, because I have some billion fucking reels.
actually you do it on Facebook, which yeah.
I intermittently go between Instagram
Yeah,
and I'll send like a billion on there, but it's
right.
usually Facebook. Yeah.
And like my other group of like my other small group of close friends, they all have my personal Instagram, and obviously the people that I know in real life, they have like outside of streaming stuff, they all have my personal Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But I have my stream Instagram, which I don't use, which I should get back into using. I really
I
need to
feel
just
that.
get on social media in general. Um, that I use for strictly stream stuff. I don't post
Mm-hmm.
any personal anything on there. It doesn't have my name on it. It doesn't have anything. And that is a public account. It's not a private account. Same with my Twitter and my TikTok. Those are all for stream stuff. They
Right.
do not have my name on them at all. And that's the end all be all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to change your boundaries if it comes up. Like it's okay to, rethink and adapt as you're growing as a person.
Right.
Um so like I'm going to keep talking about us because we're just self-centered. Um, or me, I guess. I don't know. I used to, when I first started streaming, I just streamed with a PNG YouTuber. Um, and then somewhere along the line, I switched and started streaming with my webcam, and people could see my face
Mm-hmm.
because at the time I was fine with that. And then I kind of hit a switch, and I don't stream with my camera anymore. I haven't streamed with my camera in probably 6 to 8 months at least.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine because
Mm-hmm.
that is the new boundary that I have set for myself is that I like, and like, it's not a hard and fast, like, I don't want people to be able to see my face at all, because like if you go back on my TikTok, I have videos with my face on them from
Mm-hmm.
before that I didn't take down. That's fine, because I know people have already, like, people know what I look like. They've seen me. It's whatever. I just don't, at the moment, I'm not in a comfortable place that I want to be using my webcam to stream.
Right.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm talking a lot.
I mean, you have the list.
True.
I
But that's
don't.
okay, because we're done with the list and we can move on.
Okay. Um. Yeah. Like, I don't know what else to say about that. Boundaries are important, everybody.
Right, exactly. I feel like we've covered the gist of
Yeah.
why boundaries are important.
Yeah.
Um,
And easily kind of goes into this is kind of a big topic that I think is important, is cutting out toxic people. And
100%.
I know that a lot of people, I've literally, okay, so one of my best friends, she is also going to therapy and, growing as a person. And I love all the progress that she makes. And again, it's not always easy, it's not always straightforward, it's not always constantly moving in one direction. Um, I'm trying not to make a joke. Sorry. Um, it's all over the place. It's you get pulled in different directions. And one thing that she was having to deal with, especially recently, was kind of reevaluating some of her friendships and realizing that people who've been friends with her, like people who she's called her best friends that, she's known for years and she's shared a lot with, do not have her best interest in mind. And she was like, this one person that every single time I hung out with them, they always wanted to know every single negative thing going on in my life. And I realized, like, just talking about all the negativity and then being completely disinterested in all of the positives in my life, I realized that that is not a relationship that I want to nurture anymore. I don't like it. I don't like the way I feel about it.
Right.
Like, and ended up was like, I'm sorry, but like, this is kind of the end of our friendship because I'm at a place where that's not where I want to be anymore. This is no longer something that I relish in. And it is something that it's almost to the point too where like it's kind of holding me back a little bit from
Right.
continuing to grow, because I fully believe that the people that you surround yourself with are, it's one, very telling of your own personal opinion of yourself, as well as the kind of mood or vibe that you want to have in your life. If you're surrounded by a lot of toxic people or just even negative, pessimistic, like, a lot of that can negatively impact how you see your life, and it's hard to get out of that. Don't get me wrong, it is very
Yeah.
difficult. um but like,
Cutting people out is hard.
it is. But like, shifting to, you can even try and ask them to grow with you. You can be like, look, I'm trying to be better for myself, I want you to be better too. Is there any way I can help you with that? Is this something that you're interested in, you know working on with me? I'm more than happy to help in any way I can. I know that it's a lot that I'm asking, but I
You have
value
to be
you.
careful with that,
I
though,
know it. Yeah, you do.
because if
um
if a person is having like toxic behaviors, that it's a situation that you need to be cutting out, and like you've gotten to the point where you're ready to cut this person off.
mhm.
You have to really seriously consider if it is a healthy and a safe option for you to
Right.
do that inquiry about whether or not they can grow with you as a person. You have to really
Yeah.
think about that, as to, is that something that you are comfortable seeing through,
Mhm.
because
It can
it's
open up to still be just as toxic, and
exactly
then you've put in all this work into someone who never wanted to do it.
right, because you can't force people to change.
No.
As much as we would all love to at some point or another in our lives, I I know the feeling. You can't, and it's unfortunate because it often happens that some of the closest people to us end up being not people that you can keep in your life to better your own situation.
Yeah.
And it just like, for lack of better words, it sucks. It
Yeah.
really sucks to have to cut them out. But sometimes you have to in order to better yourself.
Yeah, and like even with that, like it's hard because like you can have a really good relationship with someone and you can just feel like not 100% like they show up for you all the time.
Right.
And it might be that they're slowly slipping away. And a lot of the time, people are dealing with their own stuff. And I firmly and fully believe at this point in my life, like, show up where other people show up for you.
Yeah.
Um, where, like, if you're constantly the one having to reach out, or, you're the one who's always carrying on the conversation, or something like that, like, I firmly believe that, and this is kind of in like a dating sense, I guess, a little bit where I'm taking it from, of
Yeah.
like, if someone wants to be in your life and wants to be part of your life, they'll be there.
Yeah. And this was a
And
problem that I had with my ex.
mhm,
Um, when we were together, we were together for a few months, and then all of a sudden he started going through a really bad mental health patch for
right,
himself. Um, which like I was like I was totally fine being there just to like for whatever he needed, like
mhm,
because at the time like I had moved out of my parents' house. I was in a better place. Well, I felt like I could have been in a better place mentally, even though looking back at it I probably wasn't. um but in the moment I was prepared to sideline my own problems to support his.
right,
um and he just decided that like we barely talked for a month. I reached out everything. It just became very one-sided relationship,
mhm,
and eventually it just had to end.
yeah,
And it was hard, obviously, because
mhm,
I'm a person that wants to be in a relationship.
right,
So getting out of one that had been going on for a few months, that was, yeah, it wasn't fun, but
right,
sometimes it just has to be like that. And
mhm,
like when situations become not what you signed up for, like not healthy anymore, it's more beneficial to remove yourself or remove the situation entirely.
yeah. And like, of course, this is again not the same for every situation or every person, because like I have one of my best friends that she had moved to another state, and we kept in contact a lot. I've went and visited her a couple of times. She came down here, we hung out. But life is hard, and
Yeah.
it always, everything in my opinion always goes back to communicating and having healthy communication with other people, because like she and I, we hardly talk. She's super busy with her life. I'm super busy with mine. Kind of a situation of out of sight, out of mind a lot of the time. But like, if she were to message me and needed something or needed to talk something out, I'm there.
Right. And like that's not to say like exactly you can have people in your life that you don't like that you don't talk to every day. That is
Right.
not like the indicator that like oh it like they're like we don't talk every day, so like we have to cut them out.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not just the not talking every day. It's when if like you're actively trying like putting time and energy and effort and commitment into a relationship that's not being reciprocated, or
Mm-hmm.
it's being reciprocated in a hurtful way,
Right.
that is when that then becomes a toxic situation that you should be cutting off.
Yeah.
Like my best friend from back home, we don't talk every day, but I know that when we do talk, we just pick up right where we left off. If I
Exactly.
ever needed anything, even though we live on opposite ends of the country, I can absolutely message her or call her at any time of any given day,
Mm-hmm.
and she will drop whatever she's doing to be there, and I will
Yeah.
do the same for her.
Exactly. Um. Yeah, because every situation is always different. Every person is always different. Like, there's some people that when I'm talking to them, I know that they don't reply well, and I know that of them because that's how they showed up from day one. And then there's other people who like they like answered immediately. They were there. They
Right.
every like their communication was strong. And so,
But and then the
person
people that
A's
aren't necessarily good at responding, you can tell when they're putting in an effort to be better at it, though.
right. And so like person A showing up exactly who they are, I get that. I understand that. I know that that's how they are, and I appreciate that, you know, I appreciate that I know how the relationship is because that's how I know it to be. And then with person B, like not nearly chatting as much, or if it starts to dwindle, you can see that change,
Yeah.
and that's when it becomes like one-sided and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
like going from there. But it's just leaning back on other things, boundaries with people and how they respond to it, listening to yourself and how you feel in situations. And, it's okay to cut toxic people out. Um, it is genuinely okay to do that, to get rid of people who bring you down. Um, and, allow people to show up how they're going to, allow people to show you who they are is a big one. Don't make excuses for people. Don't try and imagine how good they could be in your mind. Um, let it be for what it is and assess from there. And, just really take care of yourself at the
Right.
end of the day. Because that's how you're going to be able to be the best for you and the people around you.
Exactly. Which is a great segue into what we're going to wrap up with,
Yes.
which is self care,
Mm-hmm.
which is arguably one of the most important things that you can do.
Absolutely. I think it gets thrown a lot, like the verbiage gets thrown a lot around a lot. Wow, it would be
Right.
great if I could talk. Um, and enunciate my
But
words.
there are a endless amount of things that can be
Oh,
considered self care.
absolutely. I bought myself a puzzle this weekend. I'm
I'm
so
I'm jealous.
excited.
I should have bought a puzzle,
You should have
but
bought a
I
puzzle. We could do a
I
puzzle
got a new
together.
book. I got
Hey,
actually two new books.
exactly.
One of them I was, like sort of obligated by social commitment to a book club to buy, but I bought the second book in the series because I was like, okay, the first one I'm going to read because my friends and I are all reading it for this book club thing. The second one I'm going to buy because I've already read the synopsis of the series and it's definitely something that I'm interested in. So I'm
Hmm.
absolutely going to read that one just for me.
Love that. Yeah, and like I went and planned out some cool crafts that I'm going to be doing.
Me
I have
too.
painting. Oh, I love that. I have paintings that I'm going to be doing. Some
Nice.
jewelry I'm going to make.
I want to start doing diamond paintings.
Oh my god, I love diamond paintings.
Right?
I don't always have the
Um,
patience to sit and do them because,
but see, and that's the thing,
yeah,
is that you don't always have to.
true.
And it doesn't always have to be like a long session of like you sit down for 2 hours and you do a puzzle start to finish. No, that's not what self-care is about.
No.
Self-care is taking some time for yourself to either do something you enjoy or just kind of be with yourself,
Hmm.
whether it's doing something like a craft or a puzzle or reading a book, listen to
One,
music, watching a movie.
yeah. Oh, see, okay, so that one's a big one for me. Sitting and actually watching a movie from start to finish, putting on a face mask, doing a hair oil treatment, and then taking like a really nice hot shower and like reading a story.
Right.
That is like the best way for me to feel so at peace with myself. And like it's so little because like I mean it's big in the grand scheme, but at the end of the day it's what a dollar face mask, a movie on Netflix that I've already seen before or something, and then
Right,
just taking a
exactly.
shower, which I would have done anyways. But like using my special things that I have, like my sugar scrub and the
Right,
aromatics that smell super good that I don't usually use, like taking the time to like really care for me,
exactly.
making myself feel so present in my own body right now is huge self-care for me, and it's always going to look different for everybody. But like looking and finding the things that you just get excited about, and you light up a little bit. You don't have to spend 2-3 hours on doing it. You could spend 15-20 and be like, you know what, I'm so happy I did that.
Right, and
I
you
feel
don't even
great.
have to like you don't have to spend money on it either,
Yeah.
because we all know that like life is way too expensive.
True.
Go for a walk,
Yeah.
like just kind of like I don't know, go down to the park and just sit on a bench for 10 minutes and just be in fresh air, out in the sun, just kind of relaxing and be by yourself.
Yeah. I remember when I was walking through a park and there were geese everywhere, right? And I
Cobra chickens.
love geese. I love how
That's
they
because
make
you
me
don't live in
happy.
Canada. They are terrifying in Canada.
So we have the Canadian geese here.
I know.
And
But I
that's
feel like they don't attack people in America. They like to attack Canadians.
I've seen. I haven't seen them attack anyone like in front of me or anything, but like I was
Yeah,
definitely sitting near one and she was bathing, and I was like, I'm not doing anything, and this is like the greatest moment of my life.
right,
And oh,
exactly.
actually, they get really aggressive during breeding season
Yep.
when their little chicks are out. They will attack people then. But she
Yep.
was just like bathing, and then all of a sudden she starts flapping her wings, and I got a little bit scared because I was like, "Oh shit, is she gonna attack me right now?" No, she was just drying her wings a little bit, but like it was just such a serene moment. It was so cool. It smelled a little bit like goose poop. It's fine. Um, but like it was just so calming, and it's kind of doing the things that make you feel really present in your body to make you kind of feel a little bit more grounded too.
Right.
Is what really works and helps me personally.
Well, and like I personally, I love thunderstorms.
Hmm.
And one thing that I used to do all the time, and I kind of want to do it the next time I get one here, is I will just go outside and I will just sit there and I will just watch and I will just listen
Yeah.
to the thunderstorm. It's very relaxing to me.
Hmm.
And like I know like other people are not the same way with thunderstorms specifically, but that's where you have to kind of know yourself and what you like to do.
Right.
Or like pick up a hobby that you always wanted to try, or something that you used to do all the time that you would like to do again.
Yeah. That's
If you
one thing.
played like
Like,
pick up a guitar and just strum it aimlessly for 20 minutes. It's
God
very
damn it,
relaxing.
Link! I don't have a guitar laying around.
Go to like uh what like a pawn shop or like a thrift store or something that you can get like an old one for like $20.
That costs money. We just talked about money.
I know, but like that's a situation where if you have it and that's something that like sounds like something you would want to do,
Yeah.
absolutely go do that, because like that music is a very like anchoring, calming thing
Hmm.
for me, and I know it is
Yeah.
for a lot of other people too.
See, I would get too wrapped up in the fact that I'd want to be a perfectionist and I wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
play the notes right, and then I'd be like, God damn it, I suck. And then
Oh
and then break the guitar.
my god. Listen, breaking things can be very
Oh
therapeutic
my
too.
gosh,
Go to
like
a rage
smash
room.
rooms? Yeah.
Yeah. If
Buy
you
your
like
own
if you're
place and
feeling
shatter
extra
away
like
your
pent up
kitchen.
stress or like anything like that, absolutely go and do something like that. It's like don't do it all the time, because aggression is not the healthiest way to let out your frustrations, But sometimes you just really need to.
Yeah.
And it's a good time.
You know what I like a lot? Escape rooms.
I love escape rooms.
Oh my gosh, I did one with my old company and it was so much fun. I was so confident that we were
Yeah,
gonna
you always are.
yeah, basically. Um like cuz we were paired up against another part of our team and like I was new and I only really knew my manager. So I got paired up with her and I was really excited about it. And she was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm going to do very well at this." And I was like, "Don't worry, I got you. We're
Right.
going to win. Don't worry." She was like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah. No, I've got this. I've never done one before, but we've got this for sure." And then we won. It was
Nice.
great. It
Oh my
was
gosh.
so fun. And then we like took a little team picture and it was really cute. And it was even better because the people on the other team were like really smug, like definitely like a know-it-all kind of person who
Yeah.
like I kind of got a weird vibe from the start, like very conceited and stuff. And they were like really sure they were going to win. So it felt really good to kind of take charge of the situation and like have
Right.
everybody do a task and be like, "Okay, you go do that. Tell me what you find. Do this, do that, blah blah." Like it just felt so natural
Yeah.
and I was so in the moment and it's a really great memory I have.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love escape rooms. They're so much fun.
Yep. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
But yeah. So like the moral of the story. Long story short. Too long
Go
didn't
to
read.
therapy.
Right. Do that.
Set boundaries. Listen to your gut.
Cut out the toxic people.
Cut out toxic people.
And spend some time with yourself.
Yeah. Listen to your body when you've got burnout. And take care of yourself.
Exactly.
One thing that I always remind myself of too is that one thing with like being a people pleaser, I am living my life for me. Why should I neglect myself? Why should I lessen my needs for someone else's?
Yeah. You're a people too. Please yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. But,
all right, guys. We will be back next week with some more to regularly scheduled program.
Yes, the unhinged shenanigans.
Right. But yeah, we just really wanted to kind of take the week to really, dive into some of this stuff, and we'll probably do this again.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will see you guys next week.
Yes.
We are going to have another guest soon. We might try to find someone for next week, but if not, well, it'll be soon. I promise.
Yeah.
So look forward to that, and we will do our very best to start being a little bit more active on our social medias. I promise.
I don't.
That's why I said try. I didn't say we will be. I promise to try.
Okay, you know what? I promise to try too.
I promise to make her try. Anyways, we will catch you guys later.
Bye, you guys. Have a great day.